Well, hello everybody out there in Leaving California world. We're on episode 36,
Dang.
and guess what? It's sunny and about 92 degrees here in Las Vegas, Terry. Can you believe it's sunny? There's no clouds in the sky in Las Vegas. What about
It's
you?
sunny in the desert. I'm shocked.
I know, right? What's your weather like there in sunny Florida?
83 degrees. We got a ton of humidity because at about 3:30 in the morning, my little border collie came and said, "Dad, I don't like thunder." So I got up and comforted her because she does not like thunder. We had a thunderstorm come through, about almost a half inch of rain at 3:30 in the morning. It was awesome.
Mm.
And made the morning walk with the doggies very humid, but it was about 74 when I
Oh, yeah.
walked them this morning at about 6:30 a.m. So beautiful day here in Central Florida. And I got to tell you, the mornings and evenings are just beautiful. And I assume that Roxanne will share what her experience is with the weather like there in Tennessee. So we'll move forward with Roxanne.
Well, it's funny. Terry's been telling me we've got to talk to Roxanne, and I said, Roxanne, who's Roxanne? And I think we skipped a city on our Southern Freedom tour. And when Terry gets excited about a city, I'm like, oh man, I wish we would have been able to fit her in to our Southern Freedom tour. So, Roxanne Spence, this is my first time meeting you, and tell us where you live and what's your weather like there in Tennessee.
Well, I currently live in Dixon, Tennessee. It's about 40 minutes west of Nashville. And right now it is humid, it is sunny, and I think we're at maybe 80 degrees already. Yeah, 80 degrees. So it's a beautiful day. I'm glad because this whole week has been a little bit heavy on the cloud cover.
Mhm.
And I'm a sunshine person still. So the sun is out today and I'm very happy.
Well, Terry, I guess we missed the city, and Terry was so kind to bring me along for the Southern Freedom Tour. I got to see so many places I had never seen before. Do you have any experience in this city, Terry? And have you been to Dixon?
I have not. And the thing I love about Dixon, and Roxanne can explain this, it's close enough to Nashville, but yet still very affordable because a lot of people go to Nashville and they say, "Oh, let's go look at Franklin." I hear Franklin and they go, "What? $800,000? Are you kidding me?" And then I heard about Roxanne and Dixon, Tennessee. By the way, Pamela Witt, our wonderful mortgage lender there in the Tennessee market, is the one who introduced me to Roxanne. So I'm thankful to Pamela for that. But Roxanne, why don't you tell us about where Dixon is in relation to Nashville, and um, and what life is like there for people who are considering moving away from California or other places of the country and want to get away to a place that's a little more affordable.
Sure. Yeah, so Dixon is about 35 minutes west of Nashville. And it's a great option for people who, like you said, are finding that they're being priced out of Franklin, Hendersonville, Mount Juliet, all those other sort of surrounding cities on the east side and south of Nashville, or being priced out of Nashville itself. Um, it's funny, Dixon County is actually a really big county, and there's a lot of small towns within it. And the distance is really not that crazy different than some of these other popular cities, but it's taken longer for people to kind of discover this side of Nashville. And I mean, that's actually been a good thing. The growth here has been kind of slow and steady. And whereas I think some of those other cities, the growth happened so quickly that the road systems weren't quite prepared for it. There's maybe some more traffic. There's a lot of construction going on, and we just haven't experienced that in Dixon County. So I think Dixon is a great spot, especially because say you are getting priced out of Franklin and you're looking at say your budget's around 600,000. And in Franklin, that's going to get you, if you're lucky, maybe a townhome or a home that is on, maybe a quarter of an acre. You're just kind of right on top of your neighbor. Granted, it's a beautiful area. I'm not hating on Franklin or anything like that. I just want to give the comparison. Whereas out in Dixon County, for this, could potentially find a home that is new construction or is existing, that is on a half acre to an acre, in a beautiful neighborhood, or along a country road, and it's going to be a larger home. So you just get more bang for your buck coming out this way. You do get more of a small town feel being in Dixon County. So Dixon itself has, the big box stores, Walmart, Hobby Lobby, all that good stuff. But what's really cool about Dixon is that it has this historical downtown that they've done a really good job at preserving. And so if you want that Southern charm, that feel, that small town feel, and they want to experience different restaurants and mom and pop shops and that sort of thing, you have that historical downtown Dixon, which is really cool. There are also just some other small towns around Dixon County. Like, for example, I don't live in Dixon itself. I live in Burns, but which is still Dixon County. And it's still very, very country out here, just very, country roads, but we are seeing some more, developers come in and that sort of thing. What's nice about this area is that I'm actually only 5 minutes from the highway. So it takes me, being on this side of Dixon County, only 25 minutes to get into Nashville,
So Roxanne,
which is amazing.
let's kind of shift gears a little bit because I want to back up for a second. First off, and I don't remember if Terry said that, are you originally from that area or did you move from California? Where did you come from?
Yeah, I moved from California. I grew up in Walnut Creek, California, so East Bay. And at the time, when I met my husband, he was living in Central California, so like Tracy, Stockton area. And yeah, that's where we came from.
And do you think it's better in Dixon than in California? Why are you
I would
laughing, Terry? What's so funny?
Are you kidding me?
I would say our lives have improved greatly moving to Tennessee. We have things, we have a lifestyle that we wouldn't have been able to afford if we had stayed in California. We were dealing, when I moved in with my husband at his home in Central California, what should have taken us 40 minutes to drive into Oakland or San Francisco was taking us 3 hours one way.
Jeez.
And we couldn't afford to move closer to the city either. And we wanted to start a family, and it just became impossible. And there's a lot of things going on in California that I think the landscape was changing, and we just, saw that, so 6 years ago now, that was a good time to jump ship, honestly.
Well, it's funny. I was really, and that was the one thing about Tennessee that Terry and I got to experience in these small towns. And Terry, I saw you drinking out of your Morristown cup there. I got mine right here.
Morristown.
Morristown. And
Morristown, Tennessee. It sounds like Dixon's a lot like Morristown, Tennessee to me.
I think so.
And so we always say that when you leave California, welcome to America. And you talk about monuments and history and downtown historic areas. In California, it seems like they're just trying to take all that away and just put homeless camps there, I guess. It's just so sad. But it really is leaving California, welcome to America. And to all of our members out there, I want to remind you guys that Terry does this with every realtor. We have over 350 realtors in our group. He talks to them. He makes sure that it's a right fit. And it's so important, to have people like Roxanne that knows what it's like to leave California because she did it herself, and she can help you move, and you can leave California and welcome to America. And Terry, I could see you back there. You're wanting to ask some questions about Dixon, so go ahead, take it away, Terry.
Yeah, Roxanne, I assume you have a lot of people that commute to Nashville for work or the surrounding area. It's a bedroom community in that regard that it's an easy commute. And and let me just back up and say, I know heading east or south out of Nashville is very crowded, but it sounds like the traffic isn't nearly as bad getting into Nashville as it would be if you were living in Franklin or east of Nashville.
That's right. Yeah. So I think what I've experienced and kind of when we realized this when we first moved here, when we were trying, to find a home, obviously, you check out Franklin, you check out Mount Juliet, you check out all those cities because those are the popular ones that you hear about. What we realized is that, yeah, okay, without traffic, you could get into Nashville from Franklin in about what should take 25 minutes or so. But now, unfortunately, it's gotten to the point where it's taking closer to 45 minutes to an hour because you're sitting in traffic. And coming from Dixon, we just don't have that yet. Hopefully, it doesn't get to that point. You have a little bit of traffic when you start to enter Nashville, but it's really not that bad. And so, without traffic, if you're going from the center of Dixon into Nashville, it's about 40 minutes. And you're pretty much cruising the whole way. So I would rather be cruising than stuck in traffic. So, and that's just personal preference, I think that just Dixon County has a lot to offer in regard to that aspect for commuters, but also, affordability.
When one of the things that was really exciting was the prices for sure, that the affordability, and it's unfortunate that I feel like the government is really trying to take away the American dream, and then when we found some of these small towns in Tennessee, we saw that the affordability was really nice. But the other thing that we found was the job opportunities. So you can have low price housing, but if you have no job opportunities, then it doesn't make sense. But what
Right.
we found in Tennessee was that there was a lot of job opportunities and a lot of options for people to start their lives over. So can you talk about job opportunities in your area in Nashville and so forth?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I took some notes because I wanted to share some specific names with you guys. But so say you're looking for jobs in Nashville. Tennessee as a whole has a really large healthcare industry. So you have Vanderbilt University is here, and you have the hospitals here in Nashville. So if you are in the medical field, going into Nashville for that is huge. There's also HCA is out here as well. And Dixon also has the, is it TRICARE? Yeah, I think, no, TriStar. TriStar Health is out here as well. And, so I have a lot of nurses and doctors moving out here. And then, in Nashville, there's also, there is an increase in the tech, you've got Amazon out here. And then they've also got the Bridgestone headquarters is out here, as well as Nissan. And then in Dixon, obviously, we're not as large as that, but we do have a lot of manufacturing companies out here, such as Tensco, Daltile, and ConAgra Foods is out here, Masonite. There's actually a whole industrial park that you can drive through in Dixon. And I see the job boards, they're always looking for people.
Yeah.
Because you have to think too, in Dixon, because we are growing and the surrounding areas are growing, these manufacturers are staying really busy because they're supplying what is necessary for these new subdivisions to go in, for all the new construction that's going in. They're supplying stuff for all the data plants that are going in, that are cropping up all around Nashville. There's quite a few. There's some battery plants. I mean, there's just a lot going on. So it's a great area if you're looking for a job. There's definitely something to be found.
Now we talk about education too, and I think you had shared, do you have children that are in school?
I do. I have a 5-year-old in school.
Okay. And I know I bring this up to all of our members out there. I apologize, but this is such a pertinent fact, and I bring it up every podcast. I always remember back to our episode where we had a mom, and I don't mean to laugh because it's not funny, but she started crying and she was tearing up and she was so emotional. She said, "I could not leave my kids in California schools. I had to get out of California. I couldn't do that to my kids any longer." And so, and she was emotional. She was crying. And so maybe you could talk a little bit about education. Is the education there better than in California?
I think it
That was a
depends.
trick question. So,
Yeah, I know. I was well, so here's the thing with the education. You have to also think that, you know, these school systems, some of them are very teeny tiny. And so they may not be further along in terms of they've got a computer lab or things like that. But I will say that they have a very I have found that in most of the school districts here, they're very welcoming and open to the parents and working with the parents. And I think that that's a struggle for a lot of parents in California. They just feel shut out. They feel like they don't have any say. They don't feel like their child is learning in an environment that they're happy with.
mhm,
And I think there's also more things imposed on children in California, and parents don't have as many rights in California.
right.
That's why a lot of my personal friends have moved out here that have kids because they're fed up.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's different in Tennessee. And what's also really cool about Tennessee, which is not something that I ever really experienced in where I grew up in California, maybe it exists, but Tennessee has a huge homeschooling network. So if
Mhm.
homeschooling is something that has been on your radar or you really want to do, there are homeschooling co-ops where parents can kind of take turns, who's going to be teaching the kids that day. It's not just about a parent having to stay home every single day. They can't work. It's not like that. There's so many cool hybrid programs out here, as well as full on homeschooling with just one parent. And I have never experienced a community like that before. I just don't know if it just wasn't a thing in California, but it's huge out here. So if anyone has any interest in that, they definitely have options in Tennessee.
We
Well, I think just
interviewed. Go
I'm
ahead,
sorry,
Terry.
I just want to say that I know that in California there are certainly networks of homeschoolers. I had friends who raised their daughter in a homeschool environment where they shared that teaching. However, California definitely discourages that because
Mhm.
they want those tax dollars going to the unions and they want those going to the public schools because that's where they want to put the money. I do want to ask you, at what age are you expecting your child to be told that they were born the wrong gender and they should make that change? I just want to make sure that for those liberals who are looking to leave, I want to make sure that they're covered if they move to Tennessee and want their child to change their gender.
Right, right. Well, that just won't happen here.
What? Backwoods?
You'll be run out of town if you start talking like that out here. So
Good. I love that.
Hey,
yeah.
Terry, what was the city that we were in where we had the school district with us?
That was in Blount County in the Knoxville metro area. Blount County is next to Knoxville County.
They and the thing that I got, and we met with the board of trustees for the whole school district, and it was such an enlightening experience. And really, the biggest thing that I heard, and I used to educate children through martial arts, but the thing that I really liked was that they listen. They
Mhm.
actually will listen to the parents. They want to try to collaborate with the parents. What's best for the children? In California, they don't do that. They just say, this is what we're doing and we don't care. And don't come to our board meetings and complain.
Yeah,
If
it's
you don't like,
indoctrination in California. They indoctrinate, they don't educate.
well, let's
Right.
move on to the fun stuff. Now, I know that there's so many exciting, fun things to do and see in Nashville, and you're only 30 minutes away. But what are some of the favorite things? And for people that are listening and thinking about this area, talk about lifestyle, things to do, activities, and what's it like outside of working? What do you like out there?
Well, so what really drew us to where we actually landed, where we found our home, is that we are 10 minutes away from Montgomery Bell State Park. Um, that is something that we really enjoyed doing in California, although it just going to state parks, although they just became really overcrowded, some of them. So it was really cool to find that Dixon County has Montgomery Bell, where there are lakes and there are waterfalls and hiking trails, all literally right in the middle of the county. It's amazing. And so for those who are recreation enthusiasts, you can go do that. There's also the Harpeth River is not far away, and you can, rent a canoe or you can go kayaking. Um, Downtown Dixon also has a plethora of, restaurants, bars, things like that. It's very family friendly, I will say, which we love. I feel like there's probably not one place in Dixon that I don't feel like you could bring your kids. So for families who are moving here, I have found this community to be extremely welcoming and warm. Dixon County has its own little fairgrounds where they put on rodeos and they put on concerts and they do really fun stuff around the holidays. There is shopping here, and as we continue to grow, we get excited about new shopping coming into town. Whereas I feel like in California, you just have everything, right? You're just kind of already jaded to that kind of stuff. But Dixon, because we're a little bit behind on that kind of stuff, when a new store comes in, everyone gets really excited about it. So I would say there's a really strong small business network here as well, which is always wonderful to see. Um, we have so many coffee shops. We've got we've got a movie theater. We just got a splash pad, which is so much fun for the kids. It's huge. Dixon County Parks and Rec put in a ton of money, and I think that they hired some European company to come out and build this splash pad. There's going to be a lot more on the horizon for Dixon County as well, as the county is growing. But I would say there's always a festival going on. There's always something going on out here. So I don't feel like we're never bored.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
Well,
go ahead,
just
Terry.
say- yeah, thanks, David. So one thing to think about for those who are considering moving out of California, especially if Tennessee's on your radar, and it should be, no state income tax. Their motor vehicle taxes are incredibly low. Sales tax is low, and their property taxes are low. So,
right.
I mean, we met a guy in East Tennessee, $500,000 house. His property tax bill per year was $600. Come on, that is unbelievable.
Right.
So very low tax state. And let me just also add, it sounds like it'd be a great place for retirees too, because if you've got healthcare and you've got outdoor recreation, you can be active as a retiree and also still have access to great healthcare, which is important to people as they age.
Right. Yeah. Actually, I would say that recently, the most of my clients are retirees right now. I think I've worked with about, I don't know, 6 or 7 families in the past 6 months that were retiring. So it's great for them, and also veterans as well. Love moving out to this area because you have the Army base up in Clarksville, which is not that far. So this is also a great spot, if you have to go to that base and you don't want to live in Clarksville itself. I have a lot of veterans who also live in Dixon.
Wow.
Well, we talked about job opportunities, we talked about commuting, we talked about education, and for our listeners out there that are considering the Nashville area, the one other topic that's really important is weather. So maybe you could touch on what it's like to live there as far as the weather goes.
Well, let me also
Sure.
ask you before, Roxanne, how many times this year has your home been blown away by a tornado?
0.
That's what Californians think. Californians think that, by the way. They think that every home gets blown away every year by a tornado. So I just want to dispel that myth.
Yes, yes. So what's wonderful about the weather here is that you do get all 4 seasons. Yes, we do have tornado season, although I really think you can get a tornado at any time of the year. It just, Mother Nature just has the right mix. It can happen any time of the year here. And so for those who are concerned about moving to Tennessee because of the tornado risk, just know that yes, you do get tornado watches, you do get tornado warnings. I would say that there are some parts of Tennessee that do seem to have more activity than other parts. Dixon County has not been that area historically. You never know, something could change, but in the past year, I think we had one tornado that touched ground, and that was on the very northeast side of Dixon County. There does seem to be a little pocket there where they do get a little bit more activity. But the thing with tornadoes is that you just have to be educated. You just have to know what to do. You just have to know, okay, we're under tornado warning. We're going to find our safe space in the house. We're going to get the kids, the dogs, we're going to get everything in there, and you're going to have your supplies in there, and you're going to keep the TV on. You're going to keep your cell phone charged. And I mean, you just kind of sit and you just kind of wait, and nothing really ever happens. I have not been in a scary situations, and we've been here 6 years. And I would say is that everywhere has something. It's California, you can have the earthquakes and you just don't know when that's going to hit. Um, Florida, you can have hurricanes. At least with the tornadoes, if we know that there's a big storm coming, you kind of already have a heads up. Hey, I should probably be prepared. Should probably pick up the kids a little earlier today. We should, I probably shouldn't be on the road at this time. As long as you're educated, you feel so much more confident about it. And now when there's tornado warnings and watches, we know what to do. And I would not say that it should be a deterrent for someone moving here.
Roxanne, does it get hot? Is it like really steamy hot in the summer? And does it
East
snow
of
in
the
the winter?
Rockies. It's east of the Rockies. Of course it gets steamy hot. Just not as
It-
often as Florida.
Yes, it's steamy hot right now. We're in that right now. It's very humid. But I don't know, compared to California, we had that dry heat, but the temperature would get so high
Yeah.
that it just was blaring down on you. It's a different kind of a heat here, and it's just something that you get used to. But springtime is one of my favorite times here in Tennessee. It's just this, I've never seen an area just awaken, because it all of a sudden it goes from, winter time where there's really nothing, no leaves on the trees, nothing going on. And then all of a sudden it explodes green, and it's
Yeah.
the most beautiful thing you've ever seen.
Right.
And then we also do get snow. We got, I think we got about a foot this year.
Wow.
So it's beautiful, and it didn't hit us right on Christmas. It hit us right after. So we didn't have a white, snow falling white Christmas, but
Yeah.
it was close enough.
Well, I want to Terry and I have decided to try to cut. We used to do an hour-long show, and we're coming up on 30 minutes. So I want to be respectful of everyone's time. And we didn't really talk a lot about real estate. We talked really briefly on that. And as we're coming to the close of our show, maybe you could share it. And if you had anything extra that you wanted to share that maybe we didn't ask you about, maybe you could touch on price points. Does it start in the 300s and go as high as you want to go, kind of thing? And maybe talk about inventory, and how's the market going there? And then if there was anything else you wanted to share as we're coming up on the top of the hour here, go ahead.
Sure. So the market here is holding pretty steady for us. During the winter time, as always, the inventory goes down quite a bit. That's partially, honestly, weather related, because we do get snow, and no one really wants to be out showing homes in the snow if they don't have to, or moving. But yeah, I would say probably about 6 years ago, you could buy a home out here starting in the 180s. We're not at that point anymore. We are heading towards, 350 now, for a small home, small single family home. It may still be on an acre though. And then in Dixon County, it goes all the way up. I mean, you have your $1 million homes out here too. I would say that homes right now are staying on the market a little bit longer. We're looking at around, 30, 45 days. And that's just because the interest rates aren't really doing us any favors. But I would say that we're seeing a lot of seller concessions and people are getting creative and prices are coming down a little bit, and which is nice to see because I think that prices got so inflated there for a minute, and now we're kind of starting to see it level out. I feel like a family could come and move here and buy a beautiful home on a beautiful piece of property in the 3s and 4s, and have a very happy life. So we've got a mix of it all. We've got townhomes also going in, apartments, things like that. That there was a real need for that. And I will say that that is starting to enter Dixon County. We are starting to get some more townhomes and apartments coming in for people.
And Terry, did you have anything else you wanted to ask or add about Dixon, Tennessee?
Just back to the weather, you can buy safe rooms, right, for tornadoes. If people are scared to death of tornadoes, you can have a basement. You can put yourself in a position where you won't have any care in the world because you've got a safe place to go if you get those tornado warnings. That's really probably the number one thing we hear about Tennessee is, oh my gosh. But I will also tell you, mark my words. What's today? What is today?
June
June
20th.
June
20th,
20th.
Yeah.
2024. 5 years from now, people will say, I should have moved to Dixon County. I should have moved to Morristown. I should have moved to these little hamlets that are close to these large towns that are thriving because I missed the boat. So now is the time. Get in early. You're still got time. People complain about prices sky high in other places of the country and even in the Nashville metro. There are still places where you can be close enough to Nashville. I mean, imagine living, I don't know, if you commuted to San Francisco and you could live in Berkeley for an affordable price. That's really what we're talking about here. You can live close enough to these major metropolitan areas in Tennessee, no state income tax, low property taxes, low sales tax, low every tax, because they want their constituents to thrive. You can move to these places like Roxanne and her family from California and Walnut Creek. I know Walnut Creek well. I lived in Walnut Creek for a while. You ain't thriving there unless you're making a fortune every year, but you can do the same thing and go live a happy, prosperous life in Dixon County. Still go to Nashville for country music. Broadway is one of my favorite places on the planet to go. You can go there for NHL. You can go there for Tennessee Titans games. Anyway, I would definitely reach out to Roxanne and talk to her about why you should consider Dixon County.
Yeah, so Roxanne, thank you. This has been such an informative show. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, can you tell people how they could get a hold of you and maybe they have some questions? And one of the things that we do with all of our realtors at the end of our show is since you've actually done it, we know that we have listeners and members that are thinking maybe they're on the fence and they think, you know what, it's time. I really should leave. There is Welcome to America cities all over the South. What would you give advice? Maybe you could just share a quick piece of advice to somebody that's thinking about doing it, and then share your contact information as we wrap up the show.
Sure. I would say that if you are thinking about doing it, the biggest, if you are able to, the biggest gift you can give to yourself is just take a trip. Make the trip, spend 2 or 3 days in Nashville, Dixon County, wherever you're looking, and do an exploratory trip. And if you're really trying to figure out the area that you want to land, one thing that we did is I literally went on online and I found homes in my price range, and I made a map and I said, okay, we're going to go drive by every single one of these homes. We're going to check out the back roads, take every single back road you can take, go have coffee in the downtown, just check it all out and do that. And I think that Tennessee sells itself. And I would be really surprised I mean, I've just seen it happen so many times. You might be sold. So, and then in terms of getting in touch with me, You can find me everywhere. I'm on Facebook. You just have to type in Roxanne Spence Realtor and I pop right up. I'm on Instagram at the Roxanne Spence. And all my contact info is on both of those platforms. And yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing about Dixon. So I guess when we do our Leaving California Freedom Tour of the South 2, number 2, we're gonna make sure we
Or
hit
maybe
this city.
3, might be 3.
So, all righty. Well, so it's been such a pleasure meeting you. I look forward to talking to you. And again, I'm David Berry. I'm your host. We've got Terry Gilliam alongside. And if you need anything from me, I'm at Las Vegas at davidberryrealtor.com. I look forward to talking to you. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.